from that inventory list, the things in bold are the things, historic objects that are still available today that we can have a look at. So we're on the top of the cliff. That's our roundhouse. We've been up the steps, which have changed, but they're still there. And now we're going to walk to the edge of this wall and we'll have a look at one of our other objects in the landscape. So there's our Indian Ocean. Boom, boom. Smells like sheep ships. So the Commissariat store is what is now the Shipwrecks Gallery. That big shed there, stone shed, that's the Commissariat store on your inventory. Is that here? Commissariat, I can't see it. There it is.
Okay.
And it's that object there. Right? So there are other buildings there around it that are later, but that Commissariat was the first big convict building built on the site. So that's colonial, so it's pre-convict. That's one of the first building. Then when the convicts arrive, a whole new era of development and everything going on, and they build that big store there because all the goods they bring with them and all the goods that are sent out to help them get established have to go through a goods store and be inventoried and sorted and reallocated. So they have to build a big store for that to happen in. So it's a bit like a bond store, and it gets used as government stores later on as well. And that's using the local stone, same as the roundhouse. Not necessarily from... Roundhouse is probably from this rock, but that one might be a bit further away because they've got transport that they can bring stone. It might be from the prison site. The prison is built out of the limestone of the place as well, and so they've got quarries up there, and they probably built this one out of the same quarry as the prison. So it's all local Fremantle stone, and so it's using the local materials. The roof and the floors have got some imported timbers, but mostly Jarrah as well, which is the local timber. So we've got connections with place that are not just design and not just historic, but they're also construction. And those things add to historic value. In the end, they add up to social value too, because people can make those sort of connections between place and the objects. And there's some scientific value in the construction. Most objects that are built and most landscapes that are man-made have some educational value. That is, you can use them as a teaching site for various kinds of things. And that's tends to be called a scientific value. The other scientific value is research potential. These places have the potential to provide more information if you do more research. That's mostly related to archaeological stuff that you haven't dug up yet, so you've got potential information you can get, but that's also related to collecting the stories that people have about place. So the site may have the potential to bring out more of our cultural stories and the connections between people in place. So that's a kind of intangible thing. It's not an object that you can look after, but it's a thing that you can explore and you can talk about it as a value. Okay, seascape and views of the ocean. Now this is rare it's not rare in ports really, but for Fremantle it's really the only spot where you can see the open ocean from the city itself. So you can see the city or some of it, and down High Street we can see the main thoroughfare down the town, and right on the other end of it is the open ocean, which is an unusual piece of landscape. And that has great social value because it's the connection between people and the port and the origins of the port. But it also, these people who live here, it's their private beach, if you have a look down here. It's a tiny little beach, but it's protected from the worst of the weather on the groin. Whoops, watch out for the ants. Oh, they're bitey too. Especially the ones with big heads, they do bite. Sorry about that. Got them all? Shake them off. Yeah, so there's a lovely little beach there just between the two groins, and local people do use it for recreation, but it's also the connection between people and the ocean. And not just because the ocean is a landscape, but the ocean is the transport route for a long part of the country's history. People are coming in by boat before they can come in by plane. And I'm still covered in ants.
Sticky.
Oh yeah, there's like on your folder.
Sorry. Oh, they're on your jumper. That's why.
Okay, well, bash me up, will you? Dust me off. There's another
so
one.
many ants.
They're up my sleeves, is what they are.
Oh
Okay.
my goodness. They're everywhere.
I'll have to ditch this one.
Might have to shake you out.
Okay, let me get out of your way so I don't put them on you. The wildlife, you know? Not just the landscape, but the flora and the fauna. The fauna's getting to me. Okay, well there was a close encounter. The insect life of Arthur Head Reserve. Okay, so that's our seascape views of the ocean. And don't forget our islands, Garden Island, no, that's Garden Island, the long one. That's Karnak, Greenhead, and Rottnest is, you can't see, it's just round the corner. And that's that horizon you see in the early historic sketches of the place, connection with the where you are and what you can see. All part of understanding who you are and where you are and so on. Those things become important in social value. Okay, now we're going to go down from the headland onto the port and beach area, and so we will see as we go the kerosene bond store at the bottom and the remains of the long jetty. Okay, I'll let you go first while I bash off ants.
你反过来，这画在下面了。
我知道，我刚他那个听的时候我是这样的，我刚刚不是要停吗？他要去甩那个袖子。我靠，刚密密麻麻听着没把我恶心死。
哎，我没有挨，我是站在前面唯一一个没有挨的。
我没挨，但是我看到了。
我没有看到，但是我没有挨。
我就是没挨上去，但因为我要挨上去，他已经把我跳起来，但是真的好恶心啊！
因为我就想着对着他了，你知道吗？然后完事之后，我就没有挨，然后就发现他们突然有了一些其他的动作。
也没有什么其他动作啊，不就是放了把火嘛，别紧张。
放了一个号。我操！
啊，那个两个啥？
一个是它的 construction， 他说它有价值，说什么那个。
两个，一个是 landscape 的 education， 还有一个是 research 的什么 potential。
对。
还有个 archaeological。
archaeological 吧，考古的，考古的。哎呀，我天！这个海咸咸的味道已经闻到了，好恶心。
所以其实我们不用来。
只是他点名了，你没看吗？
你不来不行的。
这个是谁的？是谁的？
我给你这名字。
我知道。
而且他记性这么好，你不来他一定知道。
我也觉得他肯定会记得。
你想，
之前他还
上学期上的他课，结果看到他第一反应。
对，之前他点过我说，谢谢你上回没有来。
好，牛逼的不行。
Formation at that point. This has been quarried to that surface, and this is all recent construction, this staircase thing. But here has been planted. None of this is original, but it's all native plant specimens that have been planted there to hold the sand and to become a natural dune environment. And they're mostly the plants that you find on Rottnest. So we have the Rottnest Island pine tree that's behind you with those little nutty cones, and the Rottnest Island tea tree, which has got that lovely deep shade underneath it. You know, if you go to Rottnest, there's all the little quokkas hiding in that shady stuff, and it's a good windbreak. And actually, when you walk through it, if there's not much breeze, it's very quiet because it's sound absorbing. The leaf, the foliages. When it's very windy and you go through those trees, they have a little shh. Not as much as a she oak, which has much more Si in it, but these ones have a little Si in the breeze as well. So this is all man-made and designed landscape to be natural, in the sense that this is the kind of landscape we've got on Rottnest and on Garden Island, and some remnants in our coast as we go up, and it goes with this sandy soil in a limestone bedrock. So we know these plants will thrive in that sort of environment without a lot of help, and it's also got, you know, it's not historic because they're not ancient material, but they are the kind of thing that would have been grown here before white settlement until they turned it into port area. Okay, keep going this way. To manage lighting. That's a solar panel, but it's not in the sun, so it's not going to work. It's supposed to be a light coming out the top, but they've used ferrous materials that don't handle the salt spray, so they've gone all rusty and the whole thing doesn't work very well. Here's some of our interpretation panels. Where's my Narelle? Come on, tell me, do you know anything about this?
About the wattle.
Yeah. Does it sound right?
Weapons for hunting, you know, yeah. Collecting and preparing the bush tucker and the wattle and grinding, yes. Grinding seeds into a flour, damper, yeah.
So they got it right for once,
yes,
didn't
they
they?
did.
Yeah.
Actually,
Okay.
they did,
Good.
yeah. And yeah, those seeds inside of it, it's actually, these little pods inside of it, the seeds crushed down to make a paste.
That's the kind of seed inside there.
Yeah, and they've got like a really, I've read up that they've actually known to really release energy quite slowly. So if you're going on a long
That
trip,
good kind of carbohydrate.
yeah, absolutely. And also read that wattle is really good for, I just read this, reducing blood sugar levels recently.
Oh.
So that's something I would like to sort of look into a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, we've got one there, but it's only a black wattle. I don't think that's going to be.
No, not no.
这种就是属于市场会给的话的。
他有资料。
他说 editorial， 这是 research 啊，这样可以算。
So this is our commissariat store, it's our convict bond store thingy, big, and related to what was a jetty that came out.